Hello, I'm Tony, and today we are back in space to take a look at Space Crew Legendary Edition, a game free from Prime Gaming until the 28th of March 2023. Take control of your crew, your space crew, and help in the fight against the alien phasmid threat. I don't know why we're fighting, but they're not hesitating to wipe my crew out when I just deliver supplies, so yeah, let's fight. The game is a crew management sim, more than anything else, so that description kind of sells it a bit short. It can get very dramatic and very tense, and you're going to need quick reactions sometimes to make the difference between a successful mission and disaster. Naturally, a major aspect of a game called Space Crew is managing your crew. By default, you have 6 crew members: a captain, someone on comms, an engineer, a security officer and 2 weapons officers. Everyone earns experience as you play through the various missions, and at specific levels they gain role-specific skills that make a real difference to their performance. For example, the captain can perform a short burst of flying that makes your ship impossible to hit, or your weapons officers can up their accuracy to 100% for a little while, which all are extremely useful, if not vital, when used at the right time. If you get your crew members to level 6, they can take on a secondary role, so your captain can also be a standby engineer, helping out if you have a ton of failures, or if the worst happens to the main engineer, and it might. Some of the missions have you rescuing personnel from outposts or phasmid prisons, and on occasion, those you've rescued may want to join your crew. Most of the time this happened for me, the volunteers were significantly better than those that are available simply as new recruits. They're marked as legendary because we all know that's better than rare, and miles better than common quality, and that's how we rate people, right? What this means in practical terms is that these characters have higher natural armour, higher movement speed, and better resistances to radiation and being in a vacuum, so they're more likely to survive the terrible things that can happen in space. This isn't where the crew management ends though. We also have to outfit them in the latest tech, providing them with the most appropriate clothing and accessories that money can buy. And to begin with, money can't buy a lot, because you don't have any, and also because you don't know how to make stuff, even if you did have the dosh. In order to get better tech, you need research points, which are gained by completing missions, and by a number of optional sub-missions. Unlike money, research isn't spent. You just hit milestones as you collect it that unlocks newly discovered tech, that then becomes available to buy. So it takes a while before you can outfit your crew in that fancy discovery armour. There isn't really a best armour type. They all provide different boosts and or penalties to your crew's stats, so it is necessary to consider the best suited gear for the next mission, and the dangers that your ship's components might pose too, since ship management is another large aspect of the game. Your ship has a wide range of available components, from shield generators to engines, power cores to medical bays, and many more. They need the same money and research in order to unlock and buy, and typically come with the same kiss-curse mechanics as the crew equipment. You can have a power core that has a ton of armour which doesn't output much power, or one that outputs tons of power but once it gets hit a bit, starts to leak radiation onto the crew. This might be where it was worth giving your crew radiation resistant clothing to take the best advantage of a leaky but powerful engine. The weapon mods in particular are quite interesting, since you have attachments that are strong against shields but not against hulls, and vice versa. Plus guns that can be fired when there's no power being supplied to them, with low damage, or powered ones with higher damage, or even a combination of both at lower damage levels. There's plenty of options to consider and find out which works best for you, your crew, and the different types of missions. Talking of which, let's look at what you do on a mission. You choose them from the main base that acts as your home. and it gives you a warning about the level of phasmid activity expected on them. Though, to be honest, I've seen low danger missions have swarms of enemies, and very high danger ones not be too much of an issue. I don't think our military intelligence is that good. Once you've accepted the mission, you need to take off. By which I mean you need to click your captain and issue the launch command, because you are totally in charge of telling your crew what they need to do. Once you're out in space, you're in a 3D environment where you can scroll wheel zoom into the ship to manually select your crew member and issue commands, or you can scroll out for an external view of your ship and surroundings where you can look around. You select waypoints in an unusual way. It took a little while for me to get used to, because you have to click the mouse wheel and just hover over a target until it's acquired. Then you immediately start travelling to it. It felt initially like I was missing a step, but it became really helpful as I got used to it. Tagging enemy craft is done in the same way, which did come to feel pretty natural and pretty easy. From this zoomed out view, you can select your crew members from their portraits on the side and issue their role specific skills, as long as they're in the relevant chairs on the ship. If the captain is out of his chair, maybe to repel some phasmid invaders that have boarded the ship, you're not flying anywhere, and you won't be able to use that evade skill. This also goes for our weapons officers. There's 2 on board, and you've got 4 weapon turrets. If you want full firepower, you need to decide which of the other 4 crewmates won't be needed in their specific roles to become subpar fighters. It's an interesting management problem, massively increased when your ship inevitably starts to take damage, whether that's from external fire from the ships or from those sneaky invaders on your ship. Ship components need to be fixed, of course, but each component creates its own problem when it's broken. Like the gravity generator being offline means you can forget running about the ship. You are stuck gently floating around unless you have specialised boots. Things can catch fire, so repairing those components before that happens is pretty important, because fire, bad. This is when things can get really hectic, and life and death decisions about your crew need to be made. If I stop repairing a power core to resuscitate a weapons officer, none of us will make it back. But maybe that weapons officer might be able to take out the phasmid before that happens, but then something might blow up. Oh, sorry, I misclicked and didn't res them in time. Never mind. I've played this for about 8 hours, and I've really been having fun. It feels like I've completed about a quarter of a full campaign. I've now got the opportunity to try and take out a phasmid mothership, so I'm seeing a real progression in the war against them. I've lost a couple of crew members, had some very close shaves, and reloaded the mission a few times when those shaves were closer than close. It's been a really engaging experience. I do have a couple of issues about the game though. They're only minor, but you know, this is a review, so I've got to include them, right? First off, I found that clicking on the crew can be a bit unresponsive, both on the character models and the portraits. This really matters in tense situations. The comment about that crew member not being revived because of a misclick was true. The ship can get really cluttered when characters are near each other, and it's all too easy to either select the wrong crewmate or the wrong object to interact with, wasting vital time. I didn't want to repair that generator, I wanted to heal the person. It happened enough to be noticeable, but it hasn't been too bad to ruin my time in the game. Secondly, I found a lot of the missions started to get a little bit repetitive and were sometimes underwhelming. The away missions in particular can be very pedestrian. Some had a bit more variety, but they were kind of a somewhat dull but useful way to gain more research and money, rather than an engaging part of the game. That repetitiveness also extends to space missions. There's only a limited number of locations you can fly to, and I did start to get a bit tired of the asteroid belt. Fortunately, there are some more interesting options available, so there's still enough going on that makes me want to carry on playing. On a plus note, there are very granular difficulty options for those that don't enjoy some aspects of the management. You can straight up make things easier, going for casual difficulty, or harder if you want. You can reduce or turn off the requirement for tagging enemy ships, and you can even increase the size of your crew by 1, adding another weapons officer, so you get much more fire coverage without needing to swap 2 people in. This being the Legendary Edition, you also have access to the Android Ambush sort of DLC, so there's plenty more variety to keep you engaged in the game. This is a definite recommend from me. The management aspect of the game isn't the deepest, but it's really well complemented by the frantic action you'll find in combat, rushing around putting out fires while your captain takes on the aliens in a fist fight as your comms officer is getting healed in the medbay. It's fun stuff. I think this is worth a try for anyone that likes the look of this footage. Okay, that's all I got, so thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.